The interstellar housing program had seemed like a good idea at the time. Daniel Martinez had signed up for the cultural exchange without much thought. Cheap rent, a chance to meet someone from beyond the stars, and bragging rights that would last a lifetime. What he hadn't anticipated was living with a 7-foot-tall crystalline being named Zixra, who could shift colors based on her emotions. Anna Chen, Daniel's girlfriend, had been skeptical from the start. "You're really going to share an apartment with an alien?" she'd asked, eyebrows raised. "What if she eats weird things? What if she doesn't understand privacy?" Daniel had laughed it off. 3 months in, he was starting to think Anna had a point. The apartment itself was standard 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen that barely fit 2 people. Zixra had been polite, almost excessively so. She asked permission before using the bathroom, apologized for every minor inconvenience, and kept to herself most of the time. Her species, the Velkari, were known throughout the galaxy as scholars and diplomats. She was on Earth studying human sociology for her doctoral equivalent. Daniel had grown comfortable. Perhaps too comfortable. It happened on a Tuesday morning. Daniel had just finished his workout and stumbled into the bathroom, assuming Zixra was still in her room. The shower had been running for barely 30 seconds when he heard the door open. "Daniel, I apologize for the intrusion, but I must ask about the temperature settings on the." Time seemed to freeze. Zixra stood in the doorway, her crystalline form flickering from its usual calm blue to a shocked violet. Daniel grabbed the nearest towel, but the damage was done. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Zixra did something unexpected. She didn't flee. She didn't apologize and leave. Instead, her color shifted to a deep amber shade Daniel had never seen before. She tilted her head, her multifaceted eyes studying him with an intensity that made him profoundly uncomfortable. "Fascinating," she whispered. Daniel clutched the towel tighter. Zixra, could you maybe? Your species is far more vulnerable than I realized," she said, stepping closer. Daniel's heart hammered. No protective plating, no natural armor, no environmental shielding. And yet you conquered your planet. You reached the stars. How can we? Can we have this conversation when I have clothes on? Zixra's color shifted to an embarrassed pink. "Yes, of course. Forgive me. This is why I am here to learn. But I have clearly violated your cultural norms around bodily exposure." She backed out quickly, the door clicking shut. Daniel stood under the spray, his mind racing. That had been weird, really weird. When he emerged, fully dressed, he found Zixra in the living room, her form a nervous green. She'd prepared Earth tea, which she'd learned to make despite finding the taste aggressively bland. "I must explain," she began before Daniel could speak. "Among my people, we do not have your concept of nudity. Our bodies are mineral-based, transparent. We have no reproductive organs visible on our surface. To see you so exposed, so soft and undefended, it triggered something in my research mind." Daniel sat down, accepting the tea. "It's okay. I should have locked the door." "No." Zixra's color deepened to a determined orange. "You should not have 2 locked doors in your own home. I violated your space. But what I saw? Daniel, do you understand how extraordinary your species is?" He blinked. "Because I'm naked and vulnerable. Because you're naked and vulnerable and you still thrive," Zixra said, her voice taking on a passionate edge that Daniel had never heard before. "Every species I've studied has natural defenses. The krill have acid blood. The Thoraxians have exoskeletons harder than starship hulls. The Velkari can survive in vacuum for short periods. But humans, you have thin skin that tears easily. You overheat. You freeze. You require constant hydration. You're slow compared to most predators on your own world. Are you trying to make me feel bad about being human?" "I'm trying to make you understand what I've been learning." Zixra stood, pacing now, colors swirling. "Humans compensate for physical weakness with adaptability. You create tools. You form bonds. You persist when any rational being would surrender. I've been studying your species for 3 months, but in that moment seeing you so clearly vulnerable I finally understood." Daniel set down his tea. "Understood what?" "Why the galaxy fears you." The words hung in the air. Daniel had heard the rumors, of course. Humans had been in space for only 50 years, but they'd already earned a reputation. They took risks other species wouldn't. They survived where others perished. They befriended their enemies and outstubborned their friends. We don't have armor, Zixer continued. So, we've never needed to shed it to evolve. We crystalline beings are beautiful, but we're rigid. Humans are soft, and that softness is your strength. You bend instead of breaking. You adapt instead of remaining fixed. Daniel found himself smiling despite the bizarre nature of the conversation. So, you're saying my naked human body taught you about philosophy? Zixer turned a sheepish blue. When I report this to my academic committee, I will phrase it more professionally. The front door opened, and Anna walked in, stopping short at the scene Daniel and his alien roommate having what appeared to be an intense discussion over tea. Do I want to know? Anna asked. Daniel and Zixer exchanged glances. Zixer's colors flickered with what might have been amusement. Cultural exchange, Daniel said simply. The human form is remarkably instructive, Zixer added helpfully. Anna looked between them, then shook her head. I'm going to need more context. As Daniel explained, carefully editing some details, he realized something. The galaxy might fear humanity for its adaptability and persistence. But perhaps what they should really fear was humanity's ability to turn even the most awkward moments into opportunities for understanding. Zix. Ra had seen him at his most vulnerable and found inspiration. That, Daniel thought, was very human indeed.